Hello everybody, it's Anne from Anne Stampin' Up. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Simcoe, Ontario, Canada. And if you live in Canada, feel free to shop with me if you don't have your own local demonstrator or your own demonstrator that you deal with on a regular basis. If you need to reach me, you can reach me at stampsandtea@gmail.com, or my online store is stampsandtea.stampinup.net. So let's get started for today. It's a quick, simple card. It's we're in between Christmas and New Year here, so of course everywhere, so it's kind of busy. Quick, simple birthday card, or it could be a thank you card, a thinking of you card, whatever you need it to be. We're going to use the Special Moments stamp set, which is free in the Celebration catalogue from January to February. If you spend $120, you can grab this stamp set. Beautiful stamp set, lots of nice sentiments. We're also going to use this embossing folder, and it's called, it's a die. It's actually a die. It's a metal die, and it's called Stitched Greenery. It's in the annual catalogue on page 83, and it's $44. And actually you can see it quite well here when I'm holding it just right here. You can see the beautiful indent, the beautiful markings on the die. It's gorgeous. We're going to use I made the card first of all. This is it, and this is Blackberry Bliss, and I'm going to try it this time in Evening Evergreen. This is the die itself, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Evening Evergreen ink pad. Now I've tried it a couple of ways. You can't really stamp the ink pad on the die because you get too much dye in the open spaces, and I don't want that. So I found a sponge brayer here, and I'm just going to ink this up, run it over the die, and then put the die in the Big Shot with my cardstock, and hopefully it will work. We need lots of colour on this sponge because we want it to really pick up on the die. I'm going to get right to the edges of the die. I'm going to do it again. Just one more time, because I just don't feel like I'm seeing enough colour on this die. Well, let's see what we get. We can always do it again if it doesn't work. Let me just close that up for a second. Bring in the Big Shot, my plates, and I have a piece of cardstock, very vanilla cardstock, that I left as a quarter sheet of cardstock. It's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to pick the die up, flip it over. Let me see, move that in a little bit. Oh, you can't see. Let me do it this way. I've put my cardstock down, I've picked my die up, and I'm just going to put it down so that it covers the whole piece of card. Alright? Now the die's a bit bigger than a whole piece of card, but not very much. Alright, I left the cardstock the full size so that I can cut it down to size when I'm ready. But I want to see if I can get the die, oh, that's tight, all the way to the edges of my cardstock, and then cut out the best part of the cardstock to use. Let's have a look and see what we've got. Going to pop that on the floor. I'm just going to bend this die just a tad. Oops, get my thumbnail under the end there. Peel my cardstock off, and it's lovely. It's beautiful. I'm happy with it. Now, at the same time, if you wanted to, you could emboss your envelope. All right, the flap of your envelope. I'll bring in my foam mat, and I've got a piece of cardstock that I've cut down to 5 1/4 by 4. That's for the inside where we're going to stamp the sentiment. And I've got a scrap here. It's, I don't know, maybe about 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment for the front of the card on that in Evening Evergreen, and then punch it out. And I'm going to use the Hippo and Friends dies. I don't know where I'd be without those Hippo and Friends dies. So on the front, the piece for the front, we're going to stamp "Where would I be without a friend like you?" And I'm just going to pop it in the middle. Nice. And then for the inside, I've got "Happy Birthday." Yep. And I'm just going to... Oh, nice. All right. So that's it for stamping. That's the stamping done. Right. So now I have to bring in, oops, my mini cut and emboss and my plates. I'm using, as I say, the Hippo and Friends dies, and the one I'm going to use is this one, and just cut around my sentiment to go on the front of the card. So I'm just lining it up nicely. Yep. Put my top plate down. There we are. Get that out of the way. And there's my sentiment cut out. I'll pop this right back on the card so we don't lose it. So now we're just going to quickly put the card together. We have a piece of Evening Evergreen, and it is 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. Bone folder. There it is. Bone folder. And we've got this piece here. Now, as I said at the beginning, this piece I left at 5 1/2 by 4 1/4 so that I can cut out the best parts. When I did this at first, I had a lot of dye running down one edge and I didn't like it. So because I left this piece bigger than I need to be, I can now trim it down and cut out the best part, the part that I like the best. Okay, so we're going to line it up at 4 1/4. No, we're going to line it up at 4 inches because we want to leave a little border around the outside. Okay, am I taking that end off? Yes. Nice. And 5 1/4. There. Right. And we're just going to mount this on a piece of, on the Evening Evergreen. Make sure it opens the right way, just like that. Stop and see. And we've got about 1/8 of an inch all the way around the border. There. Got the Happy Birthday for the inside. Might as well pop that in. again with 1/8 of an inch all the way around. There it is. There. Now we're going to take the sentiment, and we've got some evening evergreen ribbon, and I'm just going to leave it on the roll to work with. Tape off. Leave it on the roll to work with. Look at my sentiment, okay, and I want my ribbon to run this way, okay. So I'm putting my finger on this corner. I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to run my tape. I don't know if that's right. Let me try that again. I want my ribbon to go this way, so yeah, I think I'm right. I'm just going to put 2 or 3 strips of adhesive down here just to hold my ribbon. Make sure it's the right way up. It's sitting upright. I'm just gonna do it. We can always take this ribbon off if it's not quite where we want it. There. And then I'm just gonna hold my finger here on this side of it and loop this over my finger so that it gives me a little bit of a loop on the end, and then hold my finger here and do the same thing again. Let's have a look and see if that's how we want it. Well, that's kind of straight across. That sort of goes straight through the middle. I think I want it more on an angle, so because it's sheer ribbon, I can just peel it off carefully. Put my sentiment down again, make sure it's the right way up. Oops. Let me just check that. Yeah, it's the right way up. And I'm going to start it off at more of an angle this time. Okay. Oh dear. One finger here. Pull it over like that. One finger here and pull it over like that. And we're just going to trim it. Make this piece about the same length. Like that. And then I'm going to put it on a few dimensionals. I've got some dimensionals here. Oh yes, dimensionals. I'll press my ribbon down carefully, put it up on some dimensionals. Just like that. Hope these dimensionals cooperate. Oh, doing nicely. 3 out of 5 so far. Right. Yep. Swipe that to the side. Here's my sentiment to go on the front, making sure I've got the card going the right way. Where would I be without a friend like you? Do I want it straight? Do I want it on an angle? Oh, I think I'm putting it on an angle. There. And then of course, because you need some sparkle, you can never have too much sparkle. I had some gems here. I don't know where they've gone. Oh dear, I've lost. Oh no. These gems here are little burnished brass butterflies, and they're really quite pretty. And because this is leafy and green, I think I'm going to use these. I could also use the 2021-23 in colours, this colour here, in evening evergreen, but I think I'm going to use the butterflies just because I can. Let me see, I think I'll use my picky tool. Let's have a look. I'm going to take a tiny one. Not like that. Where's my pick? There. And I think I'm going to put this little one there. And then maybe just a couple of big ones. One. Two. There. Now, they don't really stand out in when you can see them, but when you tip the card you really can see them. They're really quite pretty. And they are the burnished brass butterflies. They're on page 15 in your January to June 2022 catalogue. They're $13.50 for the package, and you get two different sizes. 40, you get 80. I would say you get 80 butterflies for $13.50. So there it is. Same card, two different colours. Blackberry Bliss, and we used sparkly gems on there. But there is the same card in Evening Evergreen and using the burnished brass butterflies, and it just says happy birthday inside. So as always, this is my creation. Feel free to copy it if you want to, but please give credit where credit's due. See where you saw the card being made. And as always, if you sell your cards, please put the Stampin' Up! Angel stamp on the back, which just says all the supplies used to make the cards are Stampin' Up! Supplies. Thanks everybody. Have a great week. Next week when I see you, it will be a new year. It will be 2022. I wish you all the best for the new year. Health, wealth and happiness, and an end to COVID as well. So we shall talk soon. See you next week. Bye.